Well, don't you look handsome?
It's Inspector Conway. How are you?
I am great, man. I'm just honored to have you with us as a guest. This is beautiful.
So how are you? Wait, hang on a second. I'm going to shut my door so I don't bother everybody else with my shouting. So you just recently started this with SOS.
Yeah, Kevin is a wonderful man. I had done some small guest things down there with various of his hosts, and he sent me a note a month or so ago and said, "Hey, man, let's just do a show together." And we got chatting about it, and originally it was going to be Saturday, and he said, "Man, why don't you do Thursday?" So I moved some things on my schedule, and we're doing a half hour each Thursday in the month of September just to get it rolling. And we'll go to an hour beginning in October. So the whole thing, yeah.
Things are booming down here. You should have all sorts of folks that want to talk.
Yeah, things are great. And truthfully, Bill, anyone you know that has anything to do with housing or business or philanthropy in St. Augustine, I'd be thrilled to.
I'll send you a list of some folks.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, I really, in all the shows that we do, with the exception of what's on WOKV, because they basically structure that, but all the other things I do have a pretty healthy philanthropic piece to it.
Yep.
So rather than the business owner just speaking about, we do this, we do this, we do this, I like to get into the, well, who are you and why do we do this? And you know, what are you involved in? What are you doing?
You know, there's a local realtor here who actually started one of these kind of Giving Tuesday events where he pitches, I think he pitched about a dozen or 2 dozen of the local nonprofits all get together, do this on one day. And they raised a buttload of money just, you know, by working together on stuff. So I'll dig up his info.
Will you do an email intro?
Yeah.
And the same with anyone that comes to your mind. You know, if they're important to you in the community, that makes them important to me, and they're worthy guests, if you know what I mean. It's getting visibility for the right people who are doing the right things to help the people, help the city.
Well, you know, I tell you, as booming as business is here, it's really screwy, Wally. That, you know, the homes that are priced under $200,000 that are new, if I could drag them across the county line, they'd be worth $40,000 less.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a guy's building 2-bedroom, 2-bath, nice interior kitchen design. The outside of the house looks like a Habitat home, just 4x4 front porch post, no garage, 799 square feet for $164,000. And he sells them all day long. I don't think he's selling them to the workforce. You know, the thing I never can figure out with all this is who's buying, but there's, I mean, we're building 4,000 homes a year right now.
Yeah. Are you on your laptop?
No, it's a desktop thing. Why?
I,
What's wrong?
I was just wondering if you can either adjust it so that light's not over your right shoulder. Perfect. There you go. That'll make it easier for people to see how pretty you are.
So
So
how does this show up? You're a radio show, but you've got visual?
yeah, so here's what we're doing. We're on Zoom, and Kevin should be jumping in shortly. The Zoom feed goes into Kevin's studio at SOS.
Which I've been there lots of times.
Yeah. So he broadcasts his SOS signal will simultaneously stream this on Facebook. We simultaneously create it in an MP4 file. It's loaded to YouTube, distributed through LinkedIn, and that lets Kevin's people and my people put it in lots of places. So the SOS signal is relatively small. It doesn't go very far. And the way we do the back end of it, it goes all over the country and lets people see and hear what we're doing. You can put it on the St. John's Housing Partnership. Hey, we did this today. You can put it anywhere. It's just
well, that's what my Facebook guru, Carolyn, I told her I was going on, and she says, well, how do I find it? I go, I don't know. I'll ask Wally.
Yeah. I will tag you personally, and I'll tag the Housing Partnership in the Facebook stream, and it'll end up right on her.
Then she'll figure it out. Yeah. That kind of stuff leaves me clueless, but I know that the folks that know how to get it right.
Yeah. Let me just check email real quick, see if Kevin sent me anything. The joy of radio, and I know this, is everything happens in the last 30 seconds. If you know what I mean. It's like, okay, let's go, and we go. So the flow is, I'll just get us started. So I'll intro you. We'll talk about the who and the why and what's affordable housing. What's the difference between affordable housing, workforce housing, and low-income housing? What about the not in my backyard people?
Yep.
Who are the people in affordable housing, by what industry? So we'll just have that kind of a conversation, things that we would talk about if we were sitting down having a brewski.
Sounds cool.
As it relates to that.
Hey, and I wanted to thank you. Back when this whole pandemic started, I asked you where I could go for some ideas on how to educate people about proper procedures, and you sent me to the
Internet Chief. Yeah.
I had every single one of my employees take it. I shared with people around the state going, look, no one else has gotten anything. These guys have got it and it's free. I went ahead and signed up as a membership just to say thank you for providing it.
Well, we can talk about that.
It was huge.
About COVID and how COVID's impacted volunteers, how COVID's impacted the ability to do work in weatherization, what programs. Whatever's important to you, that's important to me.
The screwy thing about it is there's no real guidance. We had to write about an 18-page policy and procedure. What are you going to do and how are you going to? And I cut stuff from the video, from the Home Builders Association and other stuff. The county said, well, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. As long as we're not liable, we don't care. Weatherization wouldn't let us work from March until middle of August.
Ouch.
And we're like, okay, well, if we write something and if the state and the county are happy, and I was on like a Zoom thing with the Florida Housing Coalition, and we shared what we had written back in probably April with a lot of housing groups around the state, and just said, look, I don't know, there's no just threshold for what's acceptable. I said, if you find someone and you tell them this is what you're trying to do, they're glad you're at least trying to do something, and they'll probably let it go. And so we shared it with people all over the state. And then the state weatherization folks go, well, we're not really sure. And no one wanted, and these unfortunately are the same people who run our unemployment system. So that might explain a few things.
Yeah. And Lawson just resigned.
Yeah. A friend of mine's up there said that this new guy is pretty sharp, but that whole department, there's like a culture of incompetence that runs through there. I don't know what he'll be able to do short term, but I wish him the best.
It's government.
It is. Wally, those are the folks that have control of the Matthew hurricane money, the Irma hurricane money, the Michael hurricane money, and they get paid. I think they get an admin share of like 5% of, you know, a couple $1 billion.
It's the VIG, man. They're playing the VIG. It's organized crime.
I just, you know, people always talk to us about, well, what, you know, what's your overhead? What's your fee? How are we going to do this? And, you know, the SHIP program always has, well, we want to do a percentage. And I go, look, a percentage of $100,000 isn't worth talking about. I said, now, if you want to give us $3 million to manage and you want to give us a percentage of that, then it makes sense. But everybody has this like thing that percentages seem to matter. And I'm like going, only in big numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, we go through that same thing. The most common question from a home inspector that we're looking to employ is what's the percentage split? And I said, can we not talk about that? You know, would you like to make $60,000 or $80,000 a year? And I'll show you how to do that and just stop it. You know?
Well, and ultimately, you know, the thing I've seen for years with us is we have to operate on pretty thin margins. Volume is what works. If we run hard, if we keep busy, if we do more work, we're okay. If we sit on our duffs and don't work hard, then we're not going to bring anything in. And it's same in the home inspection business. If you want
I was going to say that's not exclusive to the St. John's Housing Partnership or nonprofit.
It's the industry.
Hey, are you friendly with or aware of Kristen Keene at Rethreaded? Do you know her?
I think I've talked to her once or twice, and I was roped in on a Zoom meeting with some of the ULI folks who are trying to help her design like a little tiny home community of some sort.
Yeah, okay.
So I've talked to her once or twice, but I don't know her that well.
You have, the two of you have a very similar mindset in an entrepreneurial approach to nonprofit, to problem solving, to philanthropy.
Staying alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I picked that up when I was talking to her because she was saying, well, you know, we started doing this. There's a population of women that she wants to help. And she said, well, we started doing this. And then this opportunity came up and said, well, why don't we do that instead? And it's like, whatever it takes to serve this population, we just have to adapt. And I've just seen that for years. I can't say no to anything. It may be not a great thing, but taking it on gets us another partner in the mix, and sooner or later it pays off. But you can't sit there and go, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. You know, you're not going to get any work.
Yeah, she's real fun to work with. I've been doing some stuff with her. They just put a building under contract. We did the due diligence for it. We're also involved in some of their fundraising and whatnot. They're just real good people to work with. It's pretty interesting.
Are they still trying? Have they moved anywhere? They're trying to do some kind of like a tiny home village or something like that. And
well, I don't know the status of the housing project. She's involved with lots of folks. She's an amazing collaborator. But Alex Safakis, if you know those guys over at JWB, they're doing the container community downtown Jacksonville. They had a like a 3-story container model they're doing on a lot. Yep. Yeah, they've got that approved. They've begun the build out, not on site yet, but they've begun the build out. All the construction is done off site, and all they do is stack and erect,
set it,
plug it, and go. It's a real interesting model.
Well, you know, the biggest thing that makes his project work downtown is that he's not required to deal with stormwater or parking. He got to maximize this. Density is everything. If they let you maximize your space and don't hit you with all the other annoying crap, you can suddenly make things work. You know, it's the other part of government oh yeah, you got to do this. I have people call me all the time. Well, we got this great piece of property that you could do. I said, okay, let's talk about it. Oh, the number of units isn't what I'm concerned about. It's how many bedrooms I have, because the bedroom dictates how many parking spaces I have to have. And then suddenly the parking dictates the stormwater pond. And they go, oh, never mind.
Yeah, there are complexities. I don't know where Kevin is, but I guess he'll pop right in. We'll just start.
That's technology.
There he is. I told you it would be a minute to go. We do it in 3 little segments, just us talking. Don't worry about a thing.
How we doing?
We are
Kevin.
awesome. You missed all the good stuff. We're already done talking. We're going to go have lunch now.
Oh, all right, that's good. Well, Bill's used to being on the radio. You won't have any problems with him.
No, you
Yeah,
guys
the
are
problem
fun.
is I won't get a word in edgewise.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to record this one, right, Wally? Because in terms of the podcast, I think what we're going to do is I'd like to just keep putting them up as these video files. Is that all right?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm going to get the Facebook stream going.
Okay. As opposed to just doing audio files, I think, because people are watching it, they're watching it using a device where they can see video anyway, so they might as well see you in video.
We can do both if you want. The more places it goes, the better for you, the better for me, the better for Bill.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, just send me a recording of this, and then we'll just keep posting that to the section on the site. So we'll be live in about 1:50. And I've got the commercials lined up. We'll do those a little differently this time.
So Kevin, y'all do this kind of the same way. You talk, have a commercial, you talk, have a commercial, just like your regular shows?
This is a little different, Bill, in that Wally's going to go straight through, but he's going to take commercial breaks basically at 8 minutes and 16 minutes.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then, so we'll hear an intro, Wally, your intro, and then I'll introduce you and we'll go from there. Okay.
Yep.
Load it up.
I'm getting the feed up.
Got about 1:14. Hey, I'm getting ready to put a show on there. I gotta call you back.
So Wally, is this your work studio behind you, or is that a fake picture?
It's green screen. I'm also building a studio on my boat.
Are you really?
Yeah, I bought a new boat. It's called
And
Studio
this has nothing
C.
to do with writing the boat off for a business expense?
It's time for Sold in St. Augustine, bringing you the businesses, builders, and brokerages that drive the lifestyle and economy of St. Augustine. Now, here's your host, Wally Conway.
All righty, welcome to the program. We've got a wonderful program in store for you. You know, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that home building is booming in St. Augustine. Construction, remodeling, home sales, it is going like crazy. And with that crazy pace, one of the things that's happening is a tremendous acceleration in the expense of housing. Construction materials are getting more expensive, labor is getting in shortage, housing is getting more and more expensive. That's really nothing new in St. Augustine, St. Johns County. We've had that wonderful appreciation for decades. But that wonderful appreciation has also caused us some tremendous challenges, and that is the challenge of affordable housing. The people that we rely on most every day to keep our lives safe, to keep us strong, to serve us in our restaurants, to care to us in our hospitals, are more rapidly than ever being left behind in the housing market, both rentals as well as homes for purchase, the American dream. We've got the absolute guru, the prince of affordable housing and all things about the people of St. Augustine as it relates to housing with us today, the CEO of the St. John's Housing Partnership, dear friend, Bill Lazar. Bill, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's glad to see you. It's great seeing you again, Wally. Haven't seen you in a while.
Well, this isn't as good as being with you in person, as people realize between the wonders of modern technology and the challenges of COVID. You were broadcasting live from the St. John's Housing Partnership. I'm broadcasting live from the Home Pro Inspection World Headquarters. And Kevin Gettings is keeping it all together at the WSOS World Headquarters. So it's good. Let me, for those that don't know you, Bill, or know your story, what initially drew you to the mission of affordable housing for the people of St. Augustine? When did this start? What is your why? What sparked this?
I mean, to be honest, I was working construction up in Jacksonville, and a friend of mine said they got a part-time job in the paper for someone who wants to help make home repairs for some old folks. It was at Lutheran Social Services, and that was back in 1988. And we
Wow.
just kind of I got started. They had a group of social workers who were helping elderly people. They actually matched volunteers up, kind of like what the Council on Aging does here. They matched volunteers up to check on old folks who lived in their own homes. And they would come back and say, well, we found Mr. Tim standing on a chair trying to fix the broken ceiling light, and we're afraid he's going to fall and break his neck. Or in the same guy's case, he took his toilet apart because it was leaking and he can't put it back together again. And they actually went out, raised money from their Lutheran churches, and I got hired as a part-time person. And I had a budget of $500 a house to go out and do whatever I could for $500 plus my time, just to try and make the house a little bit safer. And we slowly grew it. I was at LSS for 2 or 3 years, helped start the Jacksonville Housing Partnership, and I was there for 4 or 5 years. And then we started the St. John's Housing Partnership in 1998. And my wife and I moved down here in about 95 and have been here ever since.
Nice. And that part-time job, Bill, my observation is that's creeped up to about 120 hours a week. That's nice.
It kind of grew a little bit, but you know, it's one of those things that I just, you know, when you find something you really like to do, and in some cases you get to play Santa Claus every day by making someone's home a little bit safer, or, you know, on the home building side, you know, you put someone in their first home, and it's amazing. Randy Brunson is an old friend of mine and a former realtor around here. Randy told me one time he came down from Atlanta where he used to sell, you know, high-end homes. And he said, Billy says, when I go to a closing and someone brings me an apple pie and gives me a hug, and he said, it makes you feel like you're king of the world. He says, you know, it's just one of those things. And I think that's what, you know, builders really enjoy, is creating something that someone says, this is my home.
You really get to share in the gratitude. That is absolutely the case. You know, I've experienced some of these things near you and with you, that people are so grateful. It's not like going to the closing table where somebody just spent $5 million in cash for a McMansion and they're snippy. People are not snippy when we're helping them, you know, get out of the street, or when we're helping them to own their first home, and they're in their 60s or some cases 70s. There's that tremendous feeling of gratitude and having done something worth meaning. Bill, just as a swag, how many people would you reason that you've helped transition into permanent type housing over these 20 plus years at the St. John's Housing Partnership?
You know, we do a couple different ways of helping people. We built a subdivision 10 years ago called Hancock Place. We put 36 people into their own single family green certified homes. Most of them are still there. I drive by and see them every so often. On the home buyer side, our credit counselors provide the HUD certified counseling course that a lot of lenders require, that sort of 8-hour, know what you're doing about buying a home. And we've had hundreds of people come through over the years. So it's, you know, it's been a real mix. It's, you know, what I really enjoy, and it's kind of funny, but it's real telling. My wife and I were at Publix about a year ago, and the guy behind the deli counter said, "Your name's Bill?" And I go, "Yes, sir." He says, "I just want to thank you." He said, "You helped me buy my house with SHIP funds 20 years ago." He said, "My wife and I are still there. We're close to paying it off."
Nice.
And I looked and I said, you know, that's exactly what these SHIP program funds are for. We stabilize someone in the workforce. He remains there as an employee for Publix. You know, the good and the bad part about being a homeowner is you're stuck in the community. You're not going too far because you've got a house now and you're tied to it. But that's what we need to stabilize our workforce.
That's what makes communities strong. It's 8 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a very brief break. We'll be right back with Bill to really dig deep on what do we make in this affordable housing, and who these people are and how we best help them. Let's take a brief break. We'll be right back.
Here's an amazing deal for you. Find a home you love that's for sale, but instead of buying it,
Hey, Kev,
take it
when,
on a test
when I
drive for a
start
year or
rattling
two.
about
That's
the
what the
time
Home
thing,
Partners program
could
can
you
do
sort
for
of
you.
do
I'm
a
Vince
little bumper
Fatizzi with
music at
Coldwell
that?
Banker Premier Properties, and through the Home Partners program, you can live in a home that's for sale, but rent it until you are ready to buy it. Or you can choose not to buy it. Contact me to learn more at findstaugustinehomes.net. That's findstaugustinehomes.net.
Wally Conway here, Mr. Home Inspection from Home Pro Inspections with important information if you're selling your home. According to the National Association of Realtors, sellers who have their home inspected at the time of listing sell their home in less time for more money and are asked to make fewer repairs. If you want your home to sell faster and to get more money, call Home Pro Inspections today to schedule your pre-listing inspection at 904-268-8211. If your home is currently listed with a realtor, you'll want to ask about the Home Pro risk-free guarantee. If your Home Pro listing is not sold within your listing period, Home Pro will refund 100% of the inspection fee. Call now, 904-268-8211. Here's that number again, 268-8211. Call now and get your home sold faster and for more money. Home Pro Inspections, 904-268-8211, or schedule online at gohomepro.com.
Are you looking for the best warranty coverage for your next home purchase? Discover the only coverage in America that includes underground sewer and water piping at floridahomewarranty.net. Plans start as low as $435, and your home qualifies for a free 6-month extension when you get your home inspected by the pros at Home Pro. Sign up online at floridahomewarranty.net.
It's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're live from downtown St. Augustine, and Wally Conway is with us. It's his show, Sold in St. Augustine. Here's Wally.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We are live here from the St. John's Housing Partnership with the CEO of the partnership, Bill Lazar, who's been sharing with us the joy in helping people get into permanent housing, both on the rental side and also on the sales side. Bill, when we use the term affordable housing, sometimes I've heard the term workforce housing. Sometimes we hear the term low-income housing. Are these the same basic things, and define it? What numbers does that look like for us in St. Augustine?
You know, I think at a certain point, shelter is shelter. When you talk about housing, I mean, essentially when you talk about affordable or workforce housing, you're talking about some kind of a program that helps create something that the free market cannot do. And that's essentially what we have is affordable housing is an indication of market failure. The builders, between regulations, price of land, price of building supplies, and everything else, really struggle to build something that meets the workforce. Employers look at it from the point of view that they don't think they can afford to pay somebody to keep up with the cost of living in St. Johns County. So what you've got is a disparity between housing costs and wages. When you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's income by family size. So whether you're buying a house or renting a house or renting an apartment or anything else, you need a certain number of bedrooms based on your family. And there are programs that look and say, you know, the old rule of thumb that you really want your housing expenses to be around 30% of your gross income. That's pretty tough to do these days for just about anybody. But the idea between housing programs is that you really try and say, okay, I want to help Mr. Conway buy this house. So I look at your full income, look at what you need, and you try and find that happy median of saying, well, Wally, you can't buy 2 acres in St. Johns County for $180,000. If you want to do something, here's what you can afford. So it's the rental program and the home ownership program all basically have sort of the same parameters. When it comes to rental, you've actually got HUD that says you can't rent a 3-bedroom apartment to someone in affordable housing for more than, I think around here, it's probably $1,200 a month. Okay. But I can tell you after 2 hurricanes, you don't find much in this town for under $1,200 a month of any sort. Over the last 8 years, since you and I worked together in that big weatherization program years ago, we've moved into doing a lot more rental stuff. We own 60 scattered site rental properties, houses and apartments that we bought, rehab, and we try and rent them for about $200 below fair market rent. That's a real challenge, essentially, when you say, okay, my overhead gets covered by a percentage of the rent, and I'm artificially lowering the rent to meet what the workforce can really afford. So when you start doing it, and I always say housing.
How do you make up that gap, Bill? Because there is
Volume.
expenses of acquisition, there's expenses of maintenance. The housing partnership is essentially a landlord in that scenario.
We got 75 tenants plus we have two multifamily apartment complexes we bought. We don't manage those, that are just for low-income seniors. And it's, I mean, it's like you and I were talking earlier, volume makes it work. When we first owned just 12 houses that we tried to manage as a rental, it was painful because we weren't bringing in enough rent to cover the expenses and everything else. We've gone through, we found some lending partners. We're now actually starting to build affordable rental property. We got a line of credit from Ameris Bank to let us build infill rental housing. We had to pitch them what we wanted to do. And ultimately they looked at it and their comfort level was, well, you can charge more than what you're planning on charging for these to pay the debt service. But our learning curve is that one of the reasons why no one builds larger apartments is because of what it costs. We actually, because of a project with the county, we're building a 6 one-bedroom unit complex. And it's kind of weird why we had to do it. But I can tell you right now, I know exactly why no one builds efficiency apartments. You can't cover the debt service on them. So we basically go back to government. We bought 2 apartment complexes. One was 8 units, one was 12 units. And when they came up for sale, we went to St. Johns County and said, we can go to the bank and borrow 80%. We can't get the other 20%. If you want to provide, and they provided SHIP funds to help us buy those properties, we were able to buy them, and we've got a 20-year deferred SHIP note. That's at least not part of the debt service, which lets us keep the rents lower.
So you can make up that gap.
But it took us growing into almost 60 units, before it just didn't become painful every month looking at your financial statements.
Well, you have earned such a position of credibility, not just in St. Johns County, but frankly, across the country. You won't brag on you, but I know that what you've done individually in building the program has been modeled at other places, and people have not been as successful as you because they didn't have you to execute the model. So good on you, buddy. But what you really alluded to there was what the term we often hear is a public-private partnership.
Yep.
How do you facilitate these relationships to build public, private, and nonprofit collaborative relationships to get so much done? What's the secret sauce?
It's just constantly banging your head against the wall sometimes. I mean, it really, we work in 3 different counties. We work over in Clay, we work predominantly here in St. John's, and we're starting to expand and do more over in Putnam. In large part, I got started in all 3 of those counties because nobody else was doing what we were doing, and someone needed to. And, it first started with a willing partner that said, usually it starts with government. If they're not going to take it seriously, you're not going to get very far. And to all the guys that I work with on the Builders Council who say, yeah, I'd like to do that, their tolerance for paperwork and something that drags on, it's like, no, I can go do this and I don't have 42 pages that I have to fill out. And it's, the big thing, I mean, I've literally built my housing career on spending SHIP dollars. And you're familiar with SHIP funds or the documentary stamp sacks on real estate.
Yeah.
Well, when we see the legislature steal that every other year, as a local government person, you can't plan. If anybody plans based on some kind of a financial model, well, if you think St. Johns County says we're getting $1 million a year from the SHIP program, they can kind of plan what they want to do with that. They can't go to a builder and say, Bill, I'd like you to buy this land and build subdivision. We'll have SHIP funds if they don't know that that money's coming every year. We've gotten to the point where we don't rely anymore on just one pot of money, but it's taken me 20 years to get to that point. And a lot of the guys in the industry, I think, try and do things here and there, but it's a real challenge to say, I want to do this full time because of just the complexity of everything.
It's definitely a long play. It's 18 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a very brief break to thank the sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to chat with Bill about how you can get involved individually with a housing partnership, how you can get your business involved with a housing partnership, and how you can get the housing partnership to guide you through the process of getting better housing. We'll be right back.
What is the first thing someone does when searching for a home? They look online. So it is important that your home look its best online. This is Adrian Lord, realtor owner at Stage to Sell
Kevin, I
Realty.
think
And
Bill
that's
could do
why
4
here at
hours
Stage
on
to
his
Sell
own.
Realty, staging is always included for free. Whether your home is
My
occupied or
kids will tell
vacant,
you
we
I'll
will
talk to
stage
a
it for
fence
you at
post
no
about
additional
housing.
charge. If you want to sell your home fast and for more money, visit StagedToSellJax.com. That's StagedToSellJax.com. Again, this is Adrian Lord. List with me and your staging is free.
Wally Conway here from Home Pro Inspections. You hear the horror stories in the news every day. People's health in jeopardy from lead paint, asbestos, radon mold, and other toxins. The fear alone is enough to make you sick. Ever wondered what's in your home? Home Pro can give you the peace of mind that comes from knowing with a complete package of environmental sampling services. What you don't know can hurt you. Call the company that over 25,000 local homeowners have trusted since 1994. Call Home Pro Inspections 904-268-8211 or online at gohomepro.com.
Are you looking for the best home warranty coverage for your next home purchase? Discover the only coverage in America that includes underground sewer and water piping at floridahomewarranty.net. Plans start as low as $435, and your home qualifies for a free 6-month extension when you get your home inspected by the pros at Home Pro. Sign up online at floridahomewarranty.net.
It is 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're live from downtown St. Augustine. Every Thursday morning around this time, we join Wally Conway. He's part of our family for Sold in St. Augustine. Here's Wally.
Thank you so much, Kevin. You know, Bill and I were chatting during the break together that we thought we could probably do 4 hours together on this particular topic, and then we'd have to break for lunch. And Kevin said, well, fellas, you've got till 9:30. Which reminded me, beginning the first week of October, Sold in St. Augustine will be 1 full hour from 9 until 10. So you want to get that on your Google Calendar. Bill, no one succeeds alone. We all know that.
Yeah.
No individual succeeds alone. No business succeeds alone. No nonprofit succeeds alone. If I'm an individual and I say, you know, Bill, St. Augustine's important to me, the county's important to me, the people who live here are important to me, how can I be involved with you as a volunteer? What can I do to facilitate the great things that you and the partnership are doing for the region?
You know, there's a lot of different ways. And part of it is that we've finally grown to the point. We still have, you know, our home repair business, we work on 100 to 200 homes a year. And there's always opportunities for folks. And now with this COVID thing, it's a little bit tougher, but we're still out, you know, doing work.
We made that better together though, buddy. We fixed it.
I hear you. You know, but that's, you know, there's opportunities for folks to do that. We've got a credit counseling and foreclosure prevention program where half the people they help, they work with remotely. I've got a realtor, Trudy Padillo, that comes in here and volunteers with us. It helps answer the phones a couple hours a week. Irene Areola with Southby's is on our board of directors as a realtor. She helps us find properties. So we got people that help us in different ways. One of the things that we're always looking for, and this is kind of different, I've found that the housing partnership really can't grow to do what we need to do now unless we go into debt. I mean, it's like you got to do that to buy property, and we've got investors out there that are buying up stuff faster than we can. We finally got some lines of credit to help, but we're also, you know, the public-private partnership, we've started thinking about, are there private investors who might want to work with us and help us purchase property that maybe they can get a 3% return on their money and a tax write-off because they loaned it to us at 6% or something like that. I don't even know the ways we're looking, but we know that we've got to be able to go out and buy property. And the biggest issue is if we're paying full price, we got to figure out how to write it down enough to where we can still keep it affordable, whether we rehab and turn it and sell it, or if we keep it as a rental. And so we're just always looking for different ways to find opportunity. And for us, everything we look at now, we can either say, do we want to build something new on it? Do we want it to be a home for sale? Do we want it to be a rental property? Do we want to buy something and keep it as a rental, or turn around, fix it up and sell it to someone as a first-time home buyer opportunity?
Right. So in addition to the heart of a servant, you've got the mind of an entrepreneur to get these things done, so that anyone who says, gracious, I've just inherited this piece of property, I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Let you know, or whatever ideas they have to, reach out to the partnership, set an appointment with Bill or the appropriate person on the staff. What about the business community, Bill? What can the business community do to help the housing partnership to create affordable housing, frankly, for the employees of their businesses?
It's that's part of it. One of the things, and everybody's got a half a dozen different ways. I always think, depending on who you are, you may have your own solution, but we need to be marketing more to local employees. I mean, we're part of the chamber. We occasionally talk to chamber members about, here's information about home buyer education programs to share with your employees. I would venture a guess that 2/3 of the people in St. Johns County that would be eligible for a first-time home buyer program don't know it exists, even though I've been running my mouth about it for 25 years. They don't know about it. They don't think that they would qualify. I've talked to county employees who say, well, I can't do that because I work for government. I go, no, as long as you income qualify, it doesn't matter where you work.
Right.
But they don't know about it. Or they look in the paper, or they go to an online mortgage calculator and they go, oh, I can't do that. But right now we're building single family homes where there's $25,000 in down payment assistance as long as we build a green certified home. So that's for anybody who income qualifies, who's ready to buy a house. And we're trying to get the word out to those folks. So part of it is getting employers to think a little bit about stabilizing their employees. I got 2 different renters that are that are chefs. And one of them, the owner of the restaurant, called us up and said, I'll pay his first and last. This is right before the pandemic hit. He said, he can't find a place to rent in this town that he can afford. I'll pay his first and last if you guys will lease to him. And it was just because he did not want to lose that chef for obvious reasons. Yeah. And he didn't, because you think at some point, if the guy finds a house over in Putnam, he's probably going to find a restaurant over in Putnam that'd be glad to hire him. So it's putting our heads together on all of this. And a big part is getting everybody to tell the legislature to leave the Housing Trust Fund alone. That's huge. St. Johns County this year, if they leave it alone, we would get $2.1 million because it was fully funded before the pandemic hit.
Right. That was going to be my closeout question. We've got 3 or 4 minutes left. What can each and every individual do to encourage? How do we encourage our legislatures? That's the local level, it's the state level, it's the national level, right? Because money trickles in different ways. There's federal dollars, there's state dollars, there's local dollars. What message do we individually send to our legislatures to encourage them? What's the buzzword? What gets their attention to take action with us on this?
I think they just need to hear from voters who say, I'm paying attention to what you do with housing money. Wally, you do a lot of fundraising for different nonprofits. I see it all the time online and everything else. I can tell you right now, every single nonprofit that is working on any kind of a mission will tell you they can't successfully achieve their goals because their clients can't find affordable housing. Decent, safe, sanitary, and affordable. So that, no matter what someone's doing, it's probably part of it. It may be their employees that need it. It may be their favorite charity can't afford to hire people at the current pay rate that can find a place to rent here in town. So I think it's telling them, we need you to support these programs. The biggest thing, I think the single biggest challenge to affordable housing is about 25 years ago, government got out of the business of providing infrastructure. When you pass the cost of roads, water, stormwater, government regulations onto a builder, they can't pass it on and keep that home affordable. So we either need government to help us with that, or we need funding from government to help pay for those costs so you can give somebody a decent home.
You mentioned other nonprofits. Is there a path there, Bill, for you and the Housing Partnership to collaborate with various nonprofits to jointly engage in working on the problem?
I think we do it in a variety of ways. That there may not be a formal way, like at the state level, the Florida Housing Coalition tries to coordinate a lot of that work with the state. In St. Johns County, the Health and Human Services Department that the St. Johns County, our tax dollars operates. They provide some funds to nonprofits to provide a variety of services. The United Way here, does the same thing. I mean, they're working on a half a dozen initiatives to try and help people, one, now deal with the pandemic, but also just looking at, we have to keep all of us operating because to a large degree, most of us are engaged in stabilizing our workforce. As much as it may be charity, it's also economic development, because if those workers don't show up, we suddenly start realizing that every employee is an essential employee unless you're willing to do what they were doing.
Right. Well, I got to thank you, Bill. My thank yous for you go long. They are very personal on things we've done together over the years. They're very professional in you being a model of how a citizen can really do great things. So I'm just grateful that you spent time with us. You are welcome here with us at WSOS anytime. And I will also offer to you those people who you see as important to this important mission of affordable housing, be they local legislatures, be they local builders, attorneys, business people who are supporting. The people who are important in supporting the St. John's Housing Partnership and affordable housing in this mission are welcome here anytime. Okay. Connect them to me, to Kevin, and we will assure that their story gets told.
That'd be great.
It's 30 minutes after the hour. Grateful that you've been with us. We'll be back with you next Thursday at 9 o'clock on Sold in St. Augustine.
Thanks, Wally. Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate you, man.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. And okay. Those, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know you know that about the people who are the important players in town, who understand the message, can articulate the message. I'm happy to get them on here.
Well, I tell you, I'll send you a long email with some ideas.
Great.
But like one of the things we are going to create, it's small for most folks, big for us. We're going to build 18 rental units in the next year, 4 different scattered sites that we bought. Going through this development process to just try and do something simple like build a duplex on a single family lot, and when you start, you didn't get into the NIMBY stuff. I haven't run into it yet, but I think at a certain point, the more we talk about the need for affordable rental housing, and it really is, I mean, after building this now, I can really see why, the folks out in the marketplace, they're not going to do it. And if you go to these tax credit programs, which is what a lot of people, you got to do a tax credit property. The state had an offering of, I think, $12 million. They had 120 applications, which they charged $10,000 an application to submit. So someone's making money, and they funded 8.
Mm.
I just really think we got to figure out how to do infill.
Yeah.
Just because we've got vacant lots around, and government's got to make it easier. And between you and me and a fence post, our county commissioners here are all very verbally supportive of it. But then they say, we're waiting for staff to bring us ideas. The county doesn't have anybody on their housing staff that has real estate or development experience. When I take them a pro forma and say, here's what we're going to build, and this is what we're going to have to charge for rent in order to pay down the debt service. They go, well, that's a lot of money for rent. How can we help you? And I said, well, right here, if you fill in this blank, you can see how rents will drop. Wow, that's a lot of money. And then it stops, but it's like, we're getting ready. And all the homes that we're building, even our rentals, we're doing green certified just to prove that we can. And it's not really that hard. It's right. Just, but the flip side of it, and you see it in your end of the business, you get no credit on an appraisal.
None.
For doing the green, which is why I keep telling we do all our stuff through the Florida Green Building Coalition. I don't know if you know Mary Tapuni with Breaking Ground.
Yeah, I do.
Mary's doing our green stuff. And I said, look, I do it because I want to. You can't get a builder to take money out of their pocket to do something that's green certified if it's not going to show up on the appraisal so they get their money back, or it doesn't help them sell the house faster. I said, why are they going to do it? It just, and when the FGBC folks were sort of arguing, well, we got to do that. I said, look, I've never found an appraiser who can do it. So they went and looked. There's one appraiser in all Northeast Florida that can do green certified homes. It's not on people's radar. So if it's not there, the government programs, I think it's good, but it's not going to take off on its own unless somebody comes to you and says, Wally, I want this.
Yeah. I got to jump in a minute, Bill.
Okay.
Keep seasonality in mind, and keep important government meetings in mind. So if you've got to go do something before the commission or that or the other, we can jump on the week before and see if we can create a little stir.
That'd be great. Well, we just got approved Tuesday, for a 8-unit complex we're doing off State Road 16. See, I will, because I've got some more stuff coming up. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, when you've got something that might need a little community nudge, we can do it here and have fun doing it.
Well, and it'd be the same thing when the legislature starts meeting again. They're literally going to be talking about what do they do with the SHIP funds.
Yeah.
It would be great to have people do like a call in to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep those things in mind.
I'll do it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
Take
Bye.
care.